All right. Thank you so much for your patience, and thank you so much for joining us this morning. My name is Jennifer Rodriguez, and I am with credit.org, and I will be your presenter today. And I did want to go ahead and let you all know we do have a special guest joining us today. We have Pham from the U.S. Department of Labor, and I'll go ahead and have her tell us a little bit more about herself. So Thuy.
Hi, my name is Thuy Pham from the U.S. Department of Labor Employee Benefit Security Administration. We are one of 25 different divisions under the U.S. Department of Labor, and our work is to administer a federal law called ERISA, which is Employee Retirement Income Security Act. And under that law, it's applicable to employers who sponsor their benefit plans, such as a health plan or a pension plan. And also, we provide training on savings fitness and retirement planning, which is what I will contribute later on today. Thanks,
Thank,
Jennifer.
thank you so much. We're so happy to have you here. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with today's topic. What we're talking about today is saving at any age. And I think what we're going to cover is really going to be the complete spectrum of ages and how finances basically impacts and how we are involved with finances throughout our whole entire life. So I think it's a very important topic. And let's just get into it. And before we do that, I do want to tell you a little bit about our agency, credit.org. We are a nonprofit credit counseling agency. We were formed in 1974. And what our mission is to improve the financial well-being of individuals and their families by providing quality financial education and counseling. And so in regards to, what we do, with more detail, we do provide counseling services and education as well. And we have two pillars that we focus on. We focus on credit and debt services, and we also have housing services because we are a HUD-approved housing counseling agency as well. So for our credit services, we have credit counseling. We also have a credit report review. And those two types of sessions are for individuals that want to know more about their credit and their finances, maybe to improve their credit because they're about to maybe, take on a loan for a car or a mortgage. We also have individuals that maybe want to get themselves out of debt. And we talked about debt yesterday, right? So we do have debt counseling, we have debt management plans. And for those folks who are going through bankruptcy, there are sessions that they must take before and after the filing, and we are allowed to provide those, with the blessing of the Department of Justice. And we also have the student loan counseling and financial education. And financial education basically covers, several different topics related to finances. But we also have a special class that talks about housing, and I'm going to get into that just now. We have home buyer assistance services, foreclosure prevention, and then for those folks who want to know if they're ready to purchase their first home, we do have the pre-purchase counseling service, our counseling sessions, and then we also have reverse mortgage counseling as well. We have rental counseling also, and we have the home buyer education courses. And after you take the home buyer education course, which is our 8-hour course, again, as a HUD-approved housing counseling agency, we're allowed to provide these classes. After you're done with the class, you do receive a certificate that you could pretty much apply for any of the requirements for down payment assistance programs or closing costs in the purchase of your first home. So again, we have a lot of services and a lot of really great educational resources as well. So welcome all to day 5 of America Saves Week. If you've been with us throughout the whole entire week, today is our last workshop. If you missed out on our other classes, I'll let you know where you could find the recordings of the classes so you don't miss out on those. So again, what we're talking about today is saving at any age. And any age is really a good time to start on your finances. Sometimes people think, well, you know what, I'm a little too old for that, or, my children are a little too young to understand about finances. And in reality, again, the relationship we have with our money is going to be the longest relationship we have in our lifetime. So it's very important that we feel very comfortable with our money and that we build a good relationship with it. So a couple of things that we're going to cover today is how to teach children about money. what young adults should know about financial responsibilities. And then we're also going to talk about adults and how to plan for retirement. And our guest speaker is going to help us with the retirement information for today. So when we're talking about finances and understanding money, if you're thinking, well, I don't think it's time to teach my child about finances. My child is really smart. They'll be able to understand money later on. Your child could be a straight A student. They could have really, good grades in school because they can read and they know math. But understanding finances is something a little more personal. It's a little different. So it's very important that you teach a child about money early on, so then you could prepare them for the future, for their financial future, and so they could have, a successful financial relationship with their money, where they understand how to manage it, how they understand how to avoid debt, and how to work on their credit. So all ages are good. Regardless of one's current financial situation, it's the destination that matters. And this is why it's so important that we focus on planning, on sticking to our plans, right? And if anything changes, to be able to go back, revisit our budget, revisit our plans, and make adjustments so it reflects, what we are trying to achieve and accomplish here. So, if you employ good habits, financial habits, if you're constantly learning about finances and applying this information to yourself, I think you're going to be putting yourself in a really great position for you to be able to create wealth. One of the things that I do recommend that we all do is look at ourselves internally and maybe examine the way that we feel about money. So what is our money attitude, right? So a couple of questions to ask ourselves that might really help us better understand how we feel about money. So for example, does money worry you, or are you calm about your money, right? Have we ever been in situations where we are a little stressed out about money? And, that could maybe indicate that we need to take extra steps to be able to, better prepare for things, right? Do you pay your bills on time? Is it because maybe we're a little forgetful, or maybe we don't have a budget or some kind of schedule that helps us be on top of our bills, and now we have to pay extra, for late fees? Is money your main goal, or is it a tool for your dreams? Is shopping fun for you, or is it a way for you to cheer up? So the emotion behind shopping, right? Is it an impulse? What is it that we're doing with our money? Is it more of a form of entertainment, and how is that impacting our day-to-day lives and our finances, right? Our day in, day out finances. Do you plan your shopping, or do you buy things on a whim? So do you leave things in your shopping cart, or do you actually buy, just hit, click buy, and that's it? Are you saving money, or just saving or living paycheck to paycheck, right? And then do you use money to show feelings like love and anger? What type of value do you give your money, right? So I think by understanding yourself a little bit better about what your attitude is, what your relationship is with money, it helps you maybe even guard yourself from certain things that maybe you need to, improve. So for example, I'll give you an example. For me, in the beginning, it was very difficult for me to save. I would put money aside, and at the end of the month, I'd go back and take that money for something. So I was never really saving. I was putting away money, and at the end of the month, I would use it for something. So I wasn't really accumulating anything. One of the things that I found that worked for me was opening an account with a credit union that was a very small credit union that was not local to me, where I was able to automatically send my money to my account, and I did not have access to touch it because it was not nearby, right? So I think that for me was the easiest thing to do. So just learning more about your habits and looking for ways to kind of go around that to help you improve your financial habits, I think is a really great way to do certain little things like that. Now, when we're talking about children, we're talking about learning about money at a very, very young age. Kids will pretty much learn absolutely anything and everything. And so, it's nice that they pick up on concepts without bias, but at the same time, they do watch you as an adult or as a parent. And so whatever you do, they learn. They don't know if it's a good habit or if it's a bad habit. So, really try to teach your child early on, like this is a good thing for you to learn about your finances. Even before kindergarten, children are spending their own money and their parents' money. And you've probably heard, you know, record-breaking box office numbers in the millions of, you know, kids' movies and toys and things of that sort. And trust me, they're not on payroll. This is your money, right? So they definitely are spenders from a very, very early age. By ages 8 to 12, kids are spending 10 billion of their own money, and this number is growing year by year, right? Parents spend $250 billion on items influenced by their children's request, and that number is also on the rise. And again, when we're talking about how soon to talk to your children about finances, marketing teams, they strategically do things to target children at 18 months of age. So we're talking about colors and commercials and jingles and things of that sort, where children start paying attention, you know, at a very, very early age. So you've got to get to your kids before the marketers do, right? Spending habits from an early age, they often solidify around middle school ages. And credit card companies are now targeting younger audiences, including teens and tweens. Before, you know, credit card companies couldn't go on college campuses. But now we've got the internet, we've got, you know, social media. And so these are other ways that now children are becoming aware of what a credit card is, putting things on credit, buying things immediately, right? So again, we have to be on top of the trends, right? So money management basics, teaching your children and young adults, you know, what they can do to earn money. And I think that's a really good way to start when you do it within the household. So, you know, if you have some extra chores around the house, or if, you know, you could have, you know, your child maybe like, you know, wash your car and you could pay them to do that. Having them understand that there are certain responsibilities and certain, you know, jobs that they can do around the house that they can actually get some extra money for, that will already help them start understanding, you know, I could earn money. You could also show them how to set up a savings account. And again, learning how to save at a very, very early age is very important, because again, by middle school, they pretty much already have their, you know, their financial habits set. So if you start doing this at an early age, whether it is having, you know, a savings account with you at a bank or maybe a little piggy bank at home, it's still very good to have them, you know, put that money aside at an early age. And then also knowing how to spend that money, right? So what are their options when it comes to their money? Let's say they get birthday money, right? They could splurge that all on whatever they want because it's their birthday money. But at the same time, I think it's important to let them know, you could go ahead and put this here for savings. You could share this amount, and then the rest of it, you could go ahead and spend on whatever you want, right? And I will say that sometimes I've, you know, seen adult habits where paycheck comes in and it is all spent. So again, learning these things at a very, very early age is important, because you understand that you are not limiting yourself. You're basically just telling your money where you want it to go. You want to save your money, you want to share your money, and you want to spend your money. You have those three things that you can do with your money, and you're not limiting yourself. You're actually just spreading, right, your money in different pots to be able to have access to that money if ever you need it for other things. And then show them how to set up a personal budget. If you think your child doesn't have a budget, you really kind of have to talk to them. Sometimes they want, you know, a bicycle, a game, certain shoes, especially when you kind of start talking to your teens. They want certain, you know, clothing items. They can actually put those as goals and work towards those. And again, this is kind of where the extra chores with extra money come in, because then they'll be like, okay, I got to cut the lawn because I want to get those shoes, or I want to, you know, so they get very motivated when you kind of start connecting everything together. The path to financial literacy. So just so we could see all of the different ages here and how money kind of, you know, falls into these different um, um, well, ages, definitely. So 0 to 4, you can involve your children in household chores, right? From 4 to 5, you could begin to give your child maybe a small allowance. I think it's very important because by then they start understanding maybe not so much the value of money, but they do definitely understand this is a nickel, this is a dime, this is a dollar. And they start appreciating that, if they're working towards something and you maybe give them some money at the end of the week, and they could then start applying that for their really tiny small purchases. Again, it's a very great way to start them. From 5 to 6 years, incorporate the tasks into the weekly allowance. 12 to 16 years. Oh, I skipped. I'm so sorry. 7 to 8 years, give your child the power to spend their own money. So this is where you help them now build their goals, right? And see how much money they have, how much money they need to earn, and how much that item costs. And they'll understand how long they have to be able to set money aside to get to that particular goal. From 9 to 11 years, you could teach your children about compound interest. So this is going to be something that's going to motivate them to save so they could see their money grow. 12 to 16 years, they could be responsible for their own spending decisions. So whatever your budget is for your teen, for their school clothes, right? Or school materials, you could let them manage that money. And if they really, really want something, then they're going to have to budget for it with whatever monies you're giving them. They're going to have to make that money stretch. Okay. So I think that's a really great age to start that, because sometimes they're just so comfortable coming to the parents and they know the parents are just going to slide that card and things are just going to magically appear. Right. So it's very good for them to start understanding that things aren't free. Things don't just pop up and, show up at your doorstep. So again, very, very great age to get them started on their own spending decisions. 16 through 18 now is a time for summer jobs and part-time work. And for them, it's very important to understand what taxes are, what deductions are, what gross and net income is. Again, I'll share another story. When I got my first job, I remember I was working towards getting my yearbook and going to prom and all of my expenses. And I remember I was talking to my boss and I said, my paycheck is smaller than I thought, because I had done the math. And then she says, well, there's deductions and there's taxes. And that was news to me. So learning that early on is something that, teens and young adults need to know so they could plan accordingly when it comes to their expenses. And then 18 and up, they're all grown up. At this time, they're probably going to start looking at getting their first credit card or maybe purchasing their first car. So you could help them, during this age to be able to make a wise and, a smart purchase when it comes to their first vehicle or obtaining their first credit card. So setting priorities and money management, there's a couple of things that you have to think about as a whole, right? When you look at your path from, a young person to young adult to into retirement, you have to think about insurance, emergency funds. So that's something you really want to make sure you have handy at all times, at all ages. Accumulation. So where are you going to put your money and how is that going to grow, right? Where is it going to accumulate? Retirement. When do you plan to retire? For how long? Are you going to have different sources of assets or things that you could tap into when you're in retirement? So income again is going to be very important. Are you going to be working until what age? The types of income you're going to have, the streams of income that you're going to have prepared for yourself, right, when it comes to retirement. And then actualization, does the plan that you are setting up for yourself actually work, way into retirement? So these plans, understanding these priorities is important to be able to have a successful path into retirement. So for retirement, I'm going to go ahead and pass the baton over to Thuy, and Thuy's going to tell you more about retirement planning. Thuy?
Thanks, Jennifer. Oh my gosh, great way to really start by um, examining your money attitude. I think if you have a good savings habit, it's great to have it's an easy tool to have a positive attitude about money, right? No stress needed. And the as Jennifer mentioned, the window of opportunity, teach kids at an early age, learn how to manage money and setting priorities. That's all important. And of course, it helps as we get older and we need to plan for retirement. And if you haven't planned for retirement, or if you've started and you need a little bit of help, Department of Labor has this great tool. It's called Taking the Mystery Out of Retirement Planning. It's a worksheet. It helps you to track down your current money, your future money, what your investments are going to yield in the future. It also tracks your expenses, and the worksheet calculates and gives you a projection and results. Also gives you suggestions of um, how to make some changes if you find that when you complete the worksheet there's a shortfall. You can always take more advantage, make the most out of your employer's retirement plan, contribute more. You may have to consider working just a little bit longer, or just setting additional savings aside. So that the worksheet is a great tool. Just like credit.org has all kinds of worksheets that you can use, Department of Labor does too, and it's free. It's nothing that you have to register. It's all for your own use. So I want to touch a little bit on retirement options, your personal plans versus your employer retirement plan. So you've got savings options here. If you work for an employer that sponsors a 401k type of a plan or an IRA plan, you should definitely participate and contribute. You can start small, let the power of compound interest work for you, or if you're able, you're at a comfortable part in your life, you're able to contribute a lot. That just helps you. It goes towards your retirement money. Um, and a lot of times employer match your contribution. That's just free money. That's if you're in the plan and the plan matches your contribution, that's just free money on top of the wages they pay you. So why not take advantage of that? I say that that's like the best thing. And it doesn't cost you anything. It's just more money. So more money. I love it. So there's also a employers have different types of pension plans. There's certain types that it's called defined benefit that the employer contributes to, and you have no contributions in it. So that part you cannot contribute to, but um, don't rely on that solely, and don't rely on Social Security solely, because that may not be enough. So I want to touch a little bit on your sources of retirement income. You've got your pension coming in, you've got Social Security, you've got personal investments. Just make sure that your pension benefit, your savings, your plan um, is going to meet your goals when you reach retirement age. So now in this worksheet that I talked about, um, it expects you, or it plans for you to live 30 years in retirement. So if you plan to retire by 65, it expects that you'll live 30 years. And it's always better to overplan, right? Um, rather than underplan, because imagine if you live to 90 but you only planned for 80. And what are you going to do for the last 10 years if you have already spent all your money by then? So always better to overplan than underplan. But your personal investments and um, uh, Social Security and your pension, all of that are a consideration. But I would say don't plan solely on one of those. You have to count them all, because they're all going to be there in some way. Um, anyway, planning for retirement income, you've got to learn to budget. Just as Jennifer has mentioned, um, from an early age. And if you haven't started, or if you started and you started small, you can always continue, or as you get your a bonus or your tax return, add it to your savings, because you've got the power of compound interest there working for you. It's just interest on top of your interest and your principal amount. Again, free money. Take advantage of all that free money coming to you. So start early, review your asset and your expenses, simplify your life, and eliminate some of those unnecessary expenses. You can always stay ahead of inflation by really, really good planning. So it's there. Go to our website. At the end of the presentation, there's a resource link that you can get to if you want to learn more and use this tool. Okay, thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Thuy. All right. So again, like Thuy was saying, it's very important to plan for retirement and looking at all of the avenues you have of income prepared, right? So again, the learning to budget is very important, staying ahead of inflation as well. And everything Thuy mentioned is definitely important for us to take into consideration. So one of the things that I do want to mention is when you are looking at your plan, make sure you analyze, what you have planned for yourself, because whatever you plan for yourself today may definitely change 5, 10 years from now, right? Even 20 years from now. So make sure that if you have any personal goals, that you identify exactly what those are, any objectives that you have, and how to accomplish or get to those things. Make sure that you have the resources, the education, all of that behind you, so it could help you make, good financial decisions. So gathering financial information is going to be really great. Strategizing as to how you're going to, maybe tap into your assets or move your monies around. And proposing appropriate solutions for yourself. So you're thinking, okay, 10 years from now, I'm going to go ahead and start, my investments in, a certain type of investment. Or from here, then 10 years after that, then I'll go ahead and tap into my Social Security. Or, like Thuy was saying, maybe you want to extend that a little bit longer in case you get to 90. Fingers crossed, we all do. So you really want to make sure that you plan, even a little extra just in case, you don't want to be short on your planning, of course. So take the necessary actions and review and monitor your progress, because again, if you're thinking, maybe I'm a little bit short or shy of the numbers where I want it to be right now in order for me to retire at a certain age, then that'll let you know, okay, I've got to bump up my savings a little bit more, or the investments a little bit more, so I could make sure that I retire comfortably, and always take inflation into consideration as well. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, Thuy. So another thing that I do want to mention is, when we take all of our financial knowledge and we apply it, one of the things you want to do is you really want to take yourself seriously. Sometimes we'll go ahead and we'll start, with a budget, and maybe we'll, take a look at our credit here and there, and we'll think about retirement, but really putting things, writing things down, making a plan is going to be very crucial. And so if you're looking to make that promise to yourself, we want to let you know that America Saves Week is definitely, talking about all of these financial topics, because we want to help individuals improve their financial habits, especially when it comes to saving, and making a pledge and a promise to yourself that you actually want to take that first step, or take action, or plan out, your personal finances. It could be retirement. It could be purchasing your first home. It could be sending your kids off to school. It could be paying off debt. We talked about saving money, while paying off your debt, because you're not paying so much in interest. That's important too. So whatever your financial goal is, if you want to make that promise to yourself, we encourage you to take a pledge And you can go on to our campaign that we manage here at credit.org, which is the Inland Empire Saves campaign. And we also manage the San Diego Saves campaign. So if you want to go ahead and take that pledge, go to www.inlandempiresaves.org and make that promise to yourself today that you're going to start saving for that one very important goal that you have, towards whatever, your financial goal is, retirement, again, purchasing your first home, paying off debt, whatever the case is. Along with the commitment that you're making to yourself, you are also going to be a part of a saver community. So you're going to be receiving a lot of resources too that are going to help you learn a little bit more about finances, as you go along. And a lot of these resources and financial information you're going to be getting is something that's going to fall within that one particular financial goal that you might have. Or, you might have one financial goal today and then another tomorrow. So, you'll get a lot of really great information that's going to support all of your financial goals. And we will definitely be with you along the way. So again, just want to share more resources. Please visit our website, credit.org. We have a plethora of educational downloads and free PDFs, educational material that you could download for yourself. So we have a resource center where we have not only our educational booklets, but we also have forms and tools and calculators that you could use to be able to, help yourself maybe get started with your budget and maybe, understand a little bit more on, what your debt is and how you could pay that off a little bit quicker. So we have a lot of really great resources there. You could also follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and our blog. And again, if you did miss some of our workshops this week, please find us on YouTube and you will get those classes there. Again, please take the pledge, through our inlandempiresaves.org campaign site. We will be looking for your pledge there. And then also when it comes to the U.S. Department of Labor, you could go to their savingmatters.dol.gov website to get a lot of really great tools and resources for finances. So again, thank you so much for joining us this week. These were the themes that we covered throughout the week. Again, you could find the recordings of these workshops on our YouTube channel. So hopefully you'll get to, see those videos and, share them if you'd like. And that's all for us today. If you do have any questions and you'd like to reach out and contact me, again, my name is Jennifer Rodriguez, and this is my contact information here. I hope to hear from you all if you do have any questions. And other than that, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, hey,
And
Jennifer.
yes,
Before we end, there's a question in the chat. So
oh,
we can take a look and address it really quick.
please,
Um,
absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up.
no problem. Question is retirement for couples. What will happen when one spouse passes away? That's a great thought. You know what? The first thing to planning that is when you consider you're ready for to receive your employer's pension, you've got to plan it out with your spouse, right? Since you're married, you have the option of either taking the single life annuity, and as the worker, the employer is going to pay the worker if they choose that option. They're going to pay the worker the entire amount for the duration of the worker's life. And when the worker passes away, the spouse gets nothing. There's another option, it's called the joint survivor annuity. And in that option, the employer or the pension plan pays a portion to the worker and for the worker's lifetime. When the worker passes away, and if there's a surviving spouse, then the pension benefit begins to pay a portion to the surviving spouse. And so that's something to consider as you're planning and you're choosing the payment options for your um, from your employer's pension. Now, there's always the question about will Social Security be around? I don't know. I don't know that anybody knows the answer to that, but that's why we can't plan on that alone. We have to plan on other uh, income for retirement. I hope that's helpful. If you have more questions, of course, go to credit.org or Department of Labor's website, and we can definitely help you.
Sweet, thank you
Thanks.
so much
Yeah.
for answering that question from our our attendee today. And then I did also want to mention, the comment says, my great aunt just lived to 104. That's such a
Yay.
huge accomplishment. So hopefully we all get to live to that old age of 104, or young age of 104, but that's
Yeah.
amazing. So that's a very good example there of how well we should plan way into the future.
Hmm.
All right, great. So if we don't have any other questions, thank you so much for sharing with us today, for your great question. And I hope you enjoy your weekend. Thank you.